Hello, folks, and welcome to the Great Scots Roundtable. I am Scott Galbraith, also known as the Great Scott, and today we have a very exciting show. If you've ever seen my roundtables or any of my videos before, you know that I'm a very active magician, and I also do singing telegrams as well. Well, there's a lot of people that wonder, how does one get into this work, or how does one do this for a living? And the one thing that I always tell them is, well, I kind of consider myself an entertainment hired gun. I work for as many entertainment agencies as I possibly can, whose job it is to entertain people. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but even in this current COVID crisis we're going through, entertainment agencies have found ways to adjust so that we can still bring people laughs and a lot of joy. And today I have not one, not two, but three of the entertainment agents that I have worked for in the past, and I thought it would be fun to get them all together and talk a little bit about the business and how things are going now in the ways that we've had to adjust a little bit. Let me introduce you to them one at a time. First up, we have a gentleman who is the owner and operator of Drive-By Parties and Sugar Plum Parties. He is a DJ and an entrepreneur. Please say hello to Keith Dennehy. How are you, Keith?
I'm amazing. Thank you very much, Scott. Great to be here.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. And I want to give credit where credit is due. This roundtable was partially your idea, so I thank you for that. I thank you. Next up, we have a guy who I've done several gigs for in the past. He owns Total Entertainment in, is it Danvers, Massachusetts, I believe, Rich? Yes. Please say hello to the owner of Total Entertainment, Mr. Rich Kraby. How are you, Rich?
Good, good. Hey, nice having. Glad you can have me.
Thank you. I'm glad you could join us. Well, you're doing great so far. Thank you very much. And finally, sometimes entertainment agents you work for aren't always local. Coming to us from Denver, Colorado, we have the owner of American Singing Telegrams. This gentleman has actually been interviewed on USA Today. So the fact that he actually agreed to be on my roundtable is actually kind of flattering. Say hello to Mr. John Shipley. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Am providing singing telegrams first in New York City, and I was doing them all myself, and I sort of came up with a fun formula for that and costumes, and then I started out outside of New York and came to Boston and met you, and you started doing them quite wonderfully well, thank you, and doing them now mostly in New York and some in Boston and Washington, D.C. and along the East Coast. We do all kinds of costume characters, and we've been doing them since COVID started outside and doing them on the lawn and on the front door and in the backyard, and come in and we pretty much crash the party and sing happy birthday in a fun way and do some other fun entertainment to make people laugh and make people smile.
Mm-hmm. You know, I actually did, believe it or not, one of my other agents was supposed to be on Chronicle, and he called me up out of a deep sleep at 5 o'clock in the morning one day and asked me to do the interview instead. And one of the things that I told the interviewer was, doing a singing telegram, there are almost times that it feels like you're almost planning a heist, because you case the place out beforehand, you make sure nobody sees you checking the place out, and then you put on a mask and take everybody by surprise. And there was one time I was like, I almost feel like I'm doing the legal version of being a criminal here. This is very interesting. But anyway, so one thing I wanted everybody to do, John, you kind of told a little bit about your background there, but I mean, how does one actually get started in singing telegrams? You said you've been doing it for a couple of years, but I mean, don't get me wrong, singing telegrams are great, but I wasn't exactly saying as a child, I want to be a singing telegram guy when I grow up. So
it's mostly like you and like me, we're all actors and singers and dancers who do a lot of different things. And
yes,
as you do your magician, and on your other parties, so do most of us. And
right.
I was in New York doing acting and singing and jumped into a gorilla suit one day when I was looking for different ways to make money. And then I expanded that to 10 other costumes and 20 other costumes. And suddenly I was out doing singing telegrams as sort of a side job to all what I was doing in the theater and acting. And many people do that now. It's like it's part of their, have income streams as an actor in a lot of different places. So, yeah, that's how it works for me.
You got to have different income streams. I'm also an Uber Eats driver, except for today because my car's in the shop. But
especially these days.
Yeah, exactly. So, Rich, why don't you tell a little bit about how does one start a company like Total Entertainment?
Well, I mean, myself, I was a singer. And I took like 10 years of voice lessons. I took dance, acting, and then I recorded all these songs. And I was performing. You know, I opened up like the New Kids on the Block, a bunch of other 80s groups back in the 80s, all right?
Yes.
And so then one day I was in a club singing, and this woman came up and asked me if I'd like to do singing telegrams. I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm not really making money in this business. So yeah, I'll do it. I took 10 years of voice lessons. I might as well make something,
Right.
you know? Because even though I did all that opening up for New Kids and all that, it didn't make me no money, you know?
Right.
So I said, yeah, I'll try it, you know? So basically, I did that for a few years, and she had me dressing up in all kinds of costumes and characters. And then one day, someone asked me to do a party for them. They wanted Barney, right? I said, who's Barney? Barney who? Barney. They know Barney the Dinosaur. I said, oh, okay, let me see if I can find it. So I ended up, I couldn't rent it anywhere. So I said, let me just see if I can buy one. So I bought one. And I bought that one costume. And that one costume turned into like, you know, people making fun of me, all right? And, hey, what's up, Barney? How you doing? I go, Barney's doing pretty good. I made $50,000 my first year. How you doing, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, that just led to me getting into bigger and better things, like the Power Rangers. I says, you know, this is pretty good, Barney. You know, maybe if I was the first one to do it, maybe I'd make even more money, you know?
Mhm.
So I found out that the Power Rangers are the new thing coming up. So I says, I'm going to buy the Power Ranger costumes. So I was like the first one in the country to get them.
Mhm.
And I had like 32 of them all over the place. I had them going, I had all these karate guys. And
Right.
that kind of got me where I am now, because I went from Barney to like Power Rangers to like bounces and tents and casinos and you name it. You know what I'm saying? If you go on my website, you'll see what I mean.
Absolutely. What website would that be, just out of curiosity?
Totalentertainment.biz.
Totalentertainment.biz.
Yeah.
Well, you know, shortly after this pandemic hit, when there was not much going on, out of the woodworks, one of my colleagues called me up and says, you got to call this guy Keith. He's doing this new thing called drive-by parties. And Keith, I know that with Sugar Plum Parties, that has been your main source since this whole thing happened. Tell us a little bit about how you, because I know you were a DJ and then you expanded. So tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about drive-by parties.
Before I do that, gentlemen, I can't sing. I can lip sync. I'm good at that. So I'm jealous and envious of your talents of singing. This is kind of my background. I've been self-employed for 26 years. I've owned a DJ company since I was 24 years old. And over those years, I mean, I've done weddings, birthdays, anniversaries. I did a Halloween party, Halloween night in a funeral home. That was funny. That was good. So anyway, Sugar Plum Parties is this venue located in Massachusetts, and I was only an investor originally. It's for little girls, ages like 3 to 10, and they come in, they get their hair done, their nails done, they get to meet the favorite princess characters, and I only came in as an investor. That was it. And so I got several photo booths. I put a photo booth in there. I'd say maybe 4 months into it, the owners of the Sugar Plum franchise came to me and said, look, Keith, this place is for sale. I'm like, oh, because you want to buy it? I said, what? I said, look, I know nothing of the princesses. I've never seen Frozen or Frozen.
Frozen, yes, Frozen.
Never seen it. I don't know who the characters are whatsoever. I've never seen Moana. The last Disney movie I saw was Lion King. All right.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I looked at it. It's a great business. There's 10 of them all over the United States. I think there's actually one in Colorado, actually, in California, in Vegas, and Florida. So I looked into it, and I wound up buying it, and I hired the right people to be there. My role is basically the Wizard of Oz. I am the man behind the curtain.
I see.
You never have to see me there. I have two amazing women, Holly and Naomi. They are the front face of the place, and they're good at what they do. We were doing really, really well, and I had plans of moving our venue from one town to the other. and this is before COVID happened. And I wasn't telling anybody. I don't want to make the big announcement. All of a sudden, boom, COVID. My DJ business shut down. Sugar Plum parties shut down. So what are we going to do? It almost happened by accident. My mother turned 70 at the end of March, and we were going to do a big surprise party, function hall, DJ, all that stuff. And for her birthday, we went knocking on her door. Her birthday, Mom. That was it. I mean, that was terrible. We had this big party planned for her. The very next day, I'm on social media, and I saw these parade of cars going by. Like, wow, great idea. And I said to myself, I am a mobile DJ. So I did a Facebook Live video saying, listen, my name is Keith. You all know who I am. If you have a party at your house, let me know. I'll show up. I'll do everything from my car. I'll just plug in. Give me an extension cord. I'll plug in. I'll provide all the music, MC, happy birthday on the lawn. My first job was April 7th. What's today's date?
August. It's August
21st.
272 parties later.
Wow.
So within the first week, it was just DJ. And I go, I have princesses that work for me. So this is as magic could happen. We had what else for this party? This is in April, all right? And there's going to be hundreds of people, cars, social distancing. Elsa came out and was going to sing Let It Go to the child. And she starts to sing Let It Go. I get Facebook Live video. As she's singing Let It Go, it starts to snow in April.
Wow.
This is no Steven Spielberg effect. It's really snowing as she's singing Let It Go.
Wow.
And when she finished singing Let It Go, it stopped snowing. I'm going, you got to be kidding me. So within a week, I booked 25 more parties, and all just princesses, all right? Look, Rick, Scott, you're from here.
Yes.
How often does it snow in April?
I don't know. Maybe sometimes.
Maybe once every couple of years, like a few years. Once.
What are the odds she's going to snow during the middle of Let It Go in a Facebook Live video? My phone blew up. Boom. It was as if the powers above were sending me a gift. I can't make the people like, you do that on purpose? I'm like, oh, yeah, I made that happen. That was me. Anyway, so it became just princesses. And then I have a social media following, and I was posting the videos. And I'm getting phone calls saying, hey, look, I do Spider-Man. I do superheroes. Hey, my friend Scott is this magician. You should meet this guy. Right? Like a magician. There's no call for a magician. I get more calls than anybody else. Okay. He does an amazing Darth Vader. He's been great at it. And so my feeling was all I needed was just one party. If I post it and make the videos correctly, more are coming in. And so it got to a point, I said, you know what? There's something here. So I invested the rest of the money that I made. I started a website. I got a car, got it professionally wrapped, and we're busy. I'm busy every weekend. And the funny thing is, people like yourself, Scott, and you, Rick, are the ones in front who are doing all the singing and dancing, getting all the recognition you guys deserve. You truly do. You won't see me in a SpongeBob costume whatsoever. Well,
someone's got to run the whole thing. I mean, come on.
I'm the MC.
Right, exactly.
And it's been an amazing blessing. I learned a long time ago, surround yourself with people smarter than you. Smart people make smart decisions. Dumb people are always broke. And look, I'm the dumb guy I know. Surround myself with the right people. I've been truly blessed.
Yes, and the truth is, I think a lot of people are realizing now, because one of the things I've just noticed in the past couple months is that I've been doing some magic shows since the end. Some for you, Keith. I've been doing magic shows since the end of April, but they've all been outside, and they've all been like small family groups. The small family groups audience is coming back first, and that's because here in Massachusetts, we're now at a point where we can have up to 25 people in a house or up to 50 people outside. But to be honest with you, I've always preferred small groups at a house as opposed to an auditorium full of people. I think it's kind of like a more like close-knit group and a lot more fun.
It's way more intimate. Way more.
Way more intimate is right, yes.
Now,
We're going to move on to the next phase of our program here, which I call Questions from a Hat. This is kind of a homage to Scenes from a Hat from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Except for the fact that you guys don't have to worry about ad-libbing or imprompting any kind of scene. All you have to do is basically answer the question one at a time. And anybody's free to jump in first. So I have 5 questions here, and I just want to, tell our audience some about the interesting things about this business and such. Incidentally, Rich, you said something about the fact that people make comments about like, oh, how's Barney doing or whatever.
Yeah.
Tell me, John, being somebody who has worn a costume yourself, tell me how many times you've heard this from somebody. Somebody walking by, doesn't know you from Adam, sees you in a costume and says, oh man, I wouldn't want your job. How often do you want to stop those people and tell them how much you actually make doing this? Because if they knew how much you actually made, they might want the job.
They might consider putting on a crazy costume.
Exactly. To be honest with you, I've actually never liked this. I feel like a lot, especially in a lot of movies and such. Like Charlie Sheen did a movie where he's being chased by the police the entire film. And you know how there will be like policemen who will like watch Lethal Weapon and they'll say, "Oh, that's not what being a cop is like." I see things all over. Don't get me started on the balloon twisting scene that's in Wedding Crashers. I can tell you a whole bunch of stuff that is wrong with that balloon twisting scene. For one thing, the fact that the gorgeous bridesmaids are even paying attention to the balloon twister is one thing. They usually don't. They usually don't care about the person entertaining the kids. They're too busy getting drunk. But there was one within the course of the story, Charlie Sheen says at one point that he got caught up in a crime he didn't commit because at the time the only job he could get was being a clown for a kid's party. A clown for a kid's party is not a job you fill out an application for. It's something you train for and you work as a private vendor. They made it sound like it was they always make it sound like only those who can't pull off something else are the ones who do kids parties and entertainment and stuff. And I mean, I've worked with all you guys. You're all tremendous pros and you hire nothing but pros when I've worked with the people who work with you as well. So I've never liked this stereotype that people who, wear a costume or entertain children are the bottom feeders. I'm not exactly sure where that got started. But anyway. Okay. Here's the first question. What is your favorite memory of a party or event you did?
May I?
Go right ahead.
So, gentlemen, you put the costume on and you see things that I call it bigger than a paycheck. We get to see moments that are just like, oh my God, that just happened. That was incredible. We had this party 3 weeks ago. It's a setup. Julianne is 32 years old. She has Down syndrome, okay? And she's very, very high risk for COVID. She's overweight. And so I talked to her caretaker. So I said, look, we're going to go the extra mile for this. So she can't hug anybody. So parade of cars go by. So I bring in Anna, Elsa, and Cinderella in a truck. We drive up there, and all 3 of them, they're each going to sing their signature song to Juliana, all right? And she wants to hug everybody, a beautiful soul she was, right? And obviously we can't. And so each one sings their song, right? So I realized, like, you know what? I can't hug her unless she's in a full-blown mascot costume. So last second, who do I bring in? I put the Mickey Mouse March theme, marching down the street, Mickey Mouse, all right? Who's the leader of a club? And so you see Julianne marching down the street like this. They go up and they embrace. She's in full costume. She's fine. But here's the thing you guys don't know about the backstory. She was supposed to be in Disney World that day. Obviously, because of COVID, she wasn't. And she lost both her parents in the last couple of years. So the whole neighborhood knew this. I found out like that day. Tears everywhere. I told the girls afterwards, even they were crying. I mean, guys, that's bigger than a paycheck. You can't. That was absolutely beautiful. And you get to do what you do. You get a front row seat to it. I mean, I've done so many parties. That's one that just sticks out, smile and tears in everyone's face. That was awesome. I got a front row seat to that.
Rich, John, any story you'd like to share?
A quick one. I remember, when I was doing Barney like years and years ago, because I haven't really worn costumes much since, back then, other than like Elvis or something like that. But I remember this one time, doing Barney, we're doing I love you, you love me, whatever.
Yeah.
I love you song, right?
Yeah.
And, I'm looking around, I'm saying, wow, I was in like a kind of a bad neighborhood, you know, but they were all, it was nice and peaceful. Everybody was happy. The kids were happy. And, you know, they weren't drinking and partying. And, you know, it just felt good to like see, like, it's not like, you know, being in a club. Like when I used to perform, I'd bring people into like bars to drink. I don't want that. I don't want my relatives getting drunk and driving home, getting in accidents. Who knows what? I mean, this was like bringing families together.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a good feeling. I had tears in my eyes, you know, with the head on.
Mr. Shipley, how about you? Do you have a story of being a singing telegram doing a singing telegram that you could share with us? You're muted. You're muted.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay. So the first one I ever did was like memorable because I just stopped waiting tables, and I didn't even know singing telegrams existed, and I was looking at places where I could work, and I called this lady, and she said, you know, had a little balloon company, and she did singing telegrams. I said, hey, if you ever need any singers, let me know. I'm an actor, singer. Yeah, I actually need something in about 2 hours downtown. I need somebody to do a gorilla. Can you do a gorilla? I said, well, I don't have a costume. Come by and pick up my costume. So I went by in a flash, picked up within 2 hours, picked up her gorilla costume, went into this office space to sing Happy Birthday and to sing some other songs. I just winged it. I could hardly breathe because, you know, I didn't know how to, you know, maneuver with a mask on my face. And the big surprise for me was people, like there must have been 20, 30 people in the room. Everyone was laughing at, I don't know what they were laughing at. Everything was like, people were laughing and applauding, and I didn't even know what I was doing in a gorilla suit, couldn't breathe, and was, you know, singing the best I could. I was just songs from wherever, Broadway show tunes I knew, and singing birthday lyrics inside that, and goofing off like physically like a gorilla. And I don't think I'd ever witnessed such a communion of laughter and applause of people in one room, one small room before. And I was like, wow, I like this. So from then on, I was like, I'm going to do this more often. And then, you know, that's, I guess, all she wrote for me.
It is a killer rush. It is a killer rush. You know what's something else that I realized pretty quickly with doing singing telegrams? I don't know if it was you, John, or somebody else, but somebody sent me to do a singing telegram at a restaurant. And I went in and I did the singing telegram for the person at the restaurant. I get back to my car, I take off the outfit, and then I realize, oh wait, nature's calling. So I have to go back in and use the restroom. I end up walking by the table I did, and I end up looking the birthday person right in the eye, and they're looking at me kind of weird, and I'm like, I realize, oh wait a minute, they didn't see my face. They have no idea who I am. And so I just kept walking, and I'm like, so that's what it feels like to be invisible right there. So you can get the feeling of what invisibility feels like if you go back into a place afterwards. All right, let's move on to another question here.
Yeah, I was, you know, a little shocked at really people and how excited people get and how happy people get. And,
oh yes.
Not just from my perspective of being, you know, an actor, a performer who loves applause and laughs, but just, you know, how much joy it brings to people, entertainers in general, and, you know, doing that momentary telegram quickly. So,
what cracks me up is how many people who have never done it before, who are doing it the first time, kind of don't understand how it works. Conversation I've had 100 times in the past 10 years. I don't like to be late because I don't want the people who I work for to look bad. So there's a million ways to kill time. So I always aim early to make sure I have enough time to get ready and get there. And sometimes when I'm early, I'll contact the on-site contact and say like, okay, I'm here or whatever. And if it's in an office building, someone will say like, oh no, we don't want you to spoil the surprise. Hide quickly. And I'm like, I'm not wearing the costume yet. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, no. I don't drive around wearing the gorilla. I put it on right before I come in. So there's a lot of people who think that you drive around, and I'm like, and I'll say to them very tongue in cheek, I'm sorry, according to your order, you didn't pay for the sweaty, smelly gorilla. And they laugh and they're like, no, we didn't. So, because that's what you would get if you would drive around. Okay. What do you hope people get out of your services?
Just what I described.
I figure, to be honest with you, that's one of the problems with doing this randomly drawing is the fact that sometimes you can be a little redundant.
Yeah, but I just to add on to that.
Yes, exactly. Keith, Rich, anything to add to that, or did you kind of describe it as well?
Obviously, we want everyone to be happy. We don't want complaints.
Right.
Never ever want to complain because it's just so stressful on us.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're trying our hardest to really make everyone happy. And then if something screws up beyond our control, it's hard. It's hard on the heart because we're putting out. You know what I'm saying? Like constantly.
Absolutely.
Keith,
anything to add to that?
You ask that question again, please.
The question was let me grab it here. Hold on. Guess I shouldn't have tossed it away so quickly here. What do you hope people get out of your services? Meaning hiring you to do what you do.
A memory. I hope they get an amazing memory out of this so they can tell their friends, like, oh my God, came to my house last week? Darth Vader, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, and Batman all came to my house. As a kid, I never got that.
Right.
My first DJ company was called Music and Memories, and I called it Memories. I want to create memories. That's what I want people to, So yeah, memory for them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see what we got here next. Next question. Okay, I'm sure that in the many years you guys have been in business, you've probably got maybe an unusual request. Is there any unusual request you've gotten over the years that sticks out? Like the customer wants it and you're like, how in the heck am I going to pull that off?
All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. I mean, this girl calls me up to do Elvis, right? And she just wants me to do it for her in her house, right? So I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. I come over, I sing, and then she wants me to have sex with her.
Oh boy.
I mean, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, you're in the same city that I live. Like, like, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't do it.
Good call. Good call.
That was kind of bizarre. You know what I'm saying? So just,
But as Elvis, in character, in costume, she wants you to do this?
Yeah. I'm like,
she wanted to have sex with Elvis. Okay. I get it.
Keith, you look like you had a story ready to go there. What?
I just heard that. I'm trying to get it back right now. Hundreds and hundreds I've done. I think I told you guys earlier. I did a Halloween party Halloween night in a funeral home. But the most recent one I did that stands out. Have any of you heard of a thing called a Celebration of Life party?
Yeah.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Celebration of Life is when a person passes, rather than the typical mourning, whatever, there's a party for this person who is now passed, and they celebrate the life. God, they want that so bad. Like if I have one, I wanted Red Sox hats, Patriots jerseys, and sing Sweet Caroline. Mm-hmm. I did one a month ago for a Celebration of Life party, and she was there. She hasn't passed yet. She has weeks to live. Weeks. Doctor said, listen, your best choice is to go on this type of care. We're going to ease you out. She said, nope. Dude, I'm going to go out my way. And we went up there, and she was there. I got to meet her for the first time, and I said, thank you so much for being part of this. He's saying that's what friends are for. A big circle swaying back and forth. I mean, when are you going to see that again?
That's great. That's great.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. How about you, Mr. Shipley?
By the way, she's an Elvis fan. Tie that together any way you want.
John, you're muted again.
Very similar to Elvis in that, I did a policeman one time, and it was for a bachelorette party for a singing telegram sent by the parents of the bride-to-be. or the parents of the groom, and it was sent as a singing telegram. Policeman to arrest her and have fun in a singing way. Well, all the girls at Bachelorette thought that there was a cop with sunglasses, that it was not a singing telegram, but a stripping. So,
Of course.
so I mean, long story short, they had been drinking and they were ready for this and they wanted this, and I wasn't that. So, you know, I got pushed around and shoved around and torn left and right, you know, do it, and screaming, and I finally had to make it a graceful exit. But that was a little bit of a shocker.
To be honest with you, having done a policeman singing telegram myself, I have run into that, and what I do is I hit my stomach and I go, look at me and ask me if you think that that's what I'm going to do, because I am not. You can't see here. I'm not going to stand up and show you, but I am not a thin man. So I say, so the minute I go, look at me and ask me that question, everybody laughs, and then they immediately stop on the rare occasion they were asked to do that.
I had speaking of police, whatever, just one thing that I just thought was kind of funny. The district attorney in Massachusetts, they had a big party, and they wanted me to bring in a dead fish inside a box, like, and give it to this guy, you know. So, and I had to dress up like I was a mobster, kind of. So I didn't shave for a few days, and it's like, so I'm like, what'd I say? Payback time is here, you know, something like that. I forget. But it was just kind of funny. I had to give the guy a dead fish. He opens up the box and he sees the dead fish. That's a sign that you're dead. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. You know, John actually sent me to a singing telegram once at the State House, and Governor Baker was there. So that was, but of course, that was, I didn't really know our governor at the time because he wasn't holding a press conference every day at the time. So I wasn't, I kind of found out after the fact.
I did a singing telegram to the lead singer of the Bangles, because she got signed with CBS Records, so they wanted to sing a telegram for her. You know the one that walk like an Egyptian.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I know that one.
That was cool. I just, yeah, I don't know. Just don't mind me. I just kind of like, things come to my head. Oh yeah, it's like.
All right. Well, actually, I have one more here. Let's see what. Okay. This is kind of an interesting one. It's crystal clear you guys all love doing this, as do I. But even when you love your job, you can have a bad day at the office. Any stories of the worst experience you had doing this?
I don't want to bring up bad memories. So,
fair enough. Fair enough.
No. So I'm thinking, I'm saying, gee, do I really want to think of any bad ones? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of any yet, so I'm good. You guys can go.
Yeah.
All right. This has nothing to do with characters, but I'm a DJ, all right? And I've seen amazing, amazing things. I have two in my head. It's a family-friendly audience, so I won't tell that one. I did this wedding in Boston, Anthony's Pier 4, years ago. Things are going great. Two things went wrong at the wedding. Table caught on fire. I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
Okay, all right.
The thing in the middle of the centerpiece there, also somebody too much to drink, it caught on fire, quickly put it out, all right? DJ that I was training to be a great wedding DJ, I let him take the mic and do the introductions, and he was doing great, right? While they're having the first dance, husband and wife, I lean into him, I like, do yourself a favor. For the rest of the night, don't say Mr. and Mrs., try not to say their first names. It's important you get it right once. If you're going to do them, say, let's hear for our bride and groom. He's like, why? I'm like, look, sometimes these names are wicked hard to pronounce, you know? It's great you get it once. If you say married couple, they're going to know what you're talking about. He's like, well, I don't agree with that. I go, I don't care if you agree with it. You're going to do it my way.
Right.
I go, look, the first dance is winding down. I cannot make this up if I tried.
Okay.
So he gets on the microphone, his exact words go, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear for John and Mary. Yeah, that's not the bride's name. Wait for it.
Okay.
Mary turns out to be John's ex-girlfriend's name. Ooh.
So he should have listened to you. Is the story?
So I find this out a week later. She comes home from a honeymoon. I'm her first phone call.
Oh boy.
So she told me everything. I go, so take a check.
Yeah.
How do you make that right? You can't. You know, so I had to unfortunately let him go.
Yeah.
But I mean, of the 1,400 weddings I've been part of in 26 years, still the one that reminds me of like of all the names to pick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, John, you're still muted.
Yeah, so just the ones where they don't go well, you know, and something happens. Especially the one that I'm thinking about is the person who doesn't want it at all and like shies away and says, "Get out of here immediately. Get out of here."
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
And you're like,
right. That does
You don't know
happen,
what to do.
unfortunately. That does happen. But I would definitely say that I can't believe that was the last question that came out. I would definitely say that the joys that you bring to people definitely outweigh the bad in this line of work. One of the best lines in a movie I ever heard was at the end of a magic movie called The Prestige with Christopher Nolan. And without giving anything away, at the very end of the movie, Hugh Jackman says to Christian Bale, "You never understood why we did this. The world knows the truth. It's concrete through the core. But if you can fool them, even for just 1 second, you get to see something very special. It's the look on their faces."
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, that is exactly that. I remember hearing that and going, wow, a director in Hollywood or whoever wrote the script actually gets it. That's not too often. Anyway, with the couple minutes that we have last year, what I would like to let each of you do. Funny thing here, folks, is that when you're self-employed and you're running an entertainment business, sometimes you have to take calls when you get them. So if you're wondering why John's house is John's box is suddenly empty here, he had to take a phone call here just real quickly. But because you have to take these jobs when they come in. That's basically the way it works. And if I gotten a text here, I would have gotten it. I would have taken it myself. So what I'd like to do here to just kind of wrap things up is if people would like to contact any of you gentlemen to enlist the help of, like, say, a local magician or a local singing telegram like yours truly, where would they go? Like if someone wants a drive-by party, Keith, where should they look?
There's this thing called the internet.
Yeah, well, that's obvious. I meant what website? I meant what's your website and contact?
I have a couple different businesses. Drive-by Parties is drivebyparties.net.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar Plum Parties is Barica, Mass. Sugar Plum Parties. All right. I'll throw the phone number out too. 781-438-8488. That's for Sugar Plum Parties.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. Mr. Cravey, how about you, sir?
I do pretty much everything. I started out doing the singing telegrams, like I said, but now I do pretty much anything and everything for a party, like whether it's tents, bounces, water slides, carnival games, and then of course I'll book different entertainers like yourself, like magicians, singing telegrams. I'll use you too. I
should mention that just real quickly, we do have a new term these days. Two new terms that have come into the magic community are virtual magic and contactless magic. Virtual magic is me performing right here from my living room on Zoom, like we're talking on Zoom right now. I've done several parties via Zoom. And contactless magic is basically most of the time an outdoor party. I don't know if this is going to adjust once the cold weather hits. Contactless magic is basically doing tricks where you involve the audience, but without bringing them up on stage and making physical contact. You basically like have someone pick a card from their seat by just riffling down the deck, or you just involve the audience by saying, okay, now what's this, and stuff like that, but nobody joined you on stage. That's contactless magic.
Yeah.
There's another word for
So continue with what you were saying. What'd you say, Keith?
Another word for contactless magic. What's it called? Say it again.
Contactless magic.
There's another word for that. It's called marriage.
So anyway, I'm sorry. I interrupted your little plug there. Rich, what were you saying?
I'm just texting something real quick. Doing a Zoom meeting. Hold on. Meeting, yeah. I'm doing a Zoom meeting. Okay, I said, what's that? 'Cause someone's trying to call me. So, well,
What were you saying? So if someone wanted to contact you, Rich, where should they look?
they can call me direct if they want
Okay.
at 978-376-4111, or go to my website, totalentertainment.biz.
All right.
.com.biz.
Sound good. That leaves Mr. Shipley. John, and you are muted again. We know that an entertainer's work. We know that an entertainment agent's work is never done. So if someone wants a singing telegram from Americans, is it American Singing Telegrams or Big Apple Singing Telegrams?
Yeah, just go. Well, it's both. So BigAppleSingingTelegrams.com. That's New York area. That's how I started. And then the AmericanSingingTelegrams.com covers Boston and DC and Chicago. So.
Yeah. One thing I always do with all the singing telegrams I always do is that I tell people that one thing that we always get for any of you who do singing telegrams, this is a great way to do it. I always write the phone number of whoever I'm working for on the back of the card with the message. And when I give it to the person, I say to them, of course, these days I do what's called throw cards. I put them in a plastic bag and I throw them the card. And I say, and on the back of that card is something very important. And the person looks it over and goes, it's a phone number. And I go, that is your means of getting even one day if you ever want to return the favor. And believe it or not, over the years, I have done some of what I call exact revenge singing telegrams, in which case the recipient is a former client and the client is a former recipient. In fact, John, you might remember this, but a telegram I did for you holds the record for quickest exact revenge telegram ever. A lady had hired you for me to do a singing telegram for her husband for their anniversary, and 2 hours later, you're calling me saying the husband wants me to do it to her. So the very next day, so I was a chicken for the husband, and then I turned right around the very next day and was a pink gorilla for the lady. But anyway, thank you, gentlemen, for your time. I thank you for being able to put this into your schedule. So Keith, Rich, John, thank you very much. And thank you all for watching the Great Scots Roundtable. Have a wonderful day. And you know where to find us if you're having one of those outdoor parties or a drive-by party if you want to sing telegram. Great to see you all. Thank you very much.